Down U. What's that upside down U mean? You refresh. Yeah, it's an intersect and it means and, so I had to give both of them. Perfect. So, with that being said, there's one other symbol that we use, and that is for the word union. So, again, put today's date when you start new notes, just so you know where you can go back to. Today's the 5th. And then there's another one that's called the union. The union is symbolized by the letter U here. A-U-B means A union B. And it means the word or. Okay, so it's one or the other. So a union is the set of elements in A or B. And again, it's symbolized with a U. If you're thinking about Venn diagrams, you can copy this Venn diagram down. Okay? It's everything. Both A and B, and in the middle. All right, so here's an example. So if you're again trying to write, you can just write this problem. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, union 6, 8, 10, 12, because you should know that what the union means. If you don't know what the union is, make a little note that says union. Okay, so again, the word union means or. So it can be in one of the sets, or it could technically be in one or both of the sets, but you don't have to write it twice. So as long as it's in one of the sets, it's going to be needed down. So I'm going to write 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Those are all in the union. And then I also have to include anything that was in the second one. 6, 8, 10, 12. Now, what I don't want to do is I don't want to write the numbers twice. So if you notice, 8 and 10 are in both. I don't want to write 2 8s and 2 10s, okay? Because we're just saying what is in either one of them. So I'm going to start with the 6, the 7, the 8, the 9, the 10, 11, and then 12. I do not want to write, even though 8 was in both, I'm only writing one of the 8s. And I'm only writing one of the 10s. All right, one more example, and then you'll have some time to work. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, union 3, 7, 8, 9. Okay, again, union means or, so it can be in one or both of them. So I have a 3 in both, but I'm only going to write it once. I have a 4, a 5, a 6, and I have a 7 in both, but again, I'm only writing it once. I already wrote the 3, I already wrote the 7. 8 and 9. All right, so that's how the union works. So, intersect is and, has to be in both of them for it to work. union is or. As long as it's in one of them, it works. All right, you're going to work on page 17, 21 to 33 odd now. Okay, so if you have your book, I would recommend getting your book out. If you don't have your book, the problems are up front here. All right, so now what we're looking at is from the homework last night. You were supposed to take notes on interval notation. When you did Algebra 2, you did interval notation. And probably pre-calc. If you took pre-calc, you did interval notation. So pretty much everyone in this class should have seen interval notation before. Remember, interval notation, the parentheses means that it is not equal to. Okay? If you have brackets, that means it's equal to. And so if you have like a parenthesis with a bracket, it was not equal to the A, but equal to the B. Okay? And all it is an inequality. So like if I had a 3 here and a 5 there, that'd be saying it's between 3 and 5, equal to the 5, but not equal to the 3. Okay? So, you can write this down. We're just going to say, it says express each interval in set builder notation and then graph. So what I would just do is I'd probably just write these interval notations. Okay, be careful that there are brackets versus parentheses. Probably don't really need directions because you'll see what we're going to be doing when you see it, when you see the problem. Okay, so remember set builder notation. We start out with that curly bracket. We have the x telling us that we're talking about x's, and we do that vertical bar, which means such that. That is just the way it is. Now, we're writing our inequality to include all the numbers in. So we can't just write like 2, 3, 4, 5 because that would not include the decimals. When we have interval notation, that means every single number between -2 and 5, including all the decimals. So we have to write it as an inequality. So the -2 comes first. It's a bracket, so we'd have to have the equal to with it. We have our x in the middle, and then we have a 5 on the right side. It is not a bracket, it is a parenthesis, so it is not equal to, so we just put less than 5. So we're saying that x is between -2 and could be equal to -2 and 5, but not equal to 5. And we close our bracket, our brace. And then it does say express the notation on a graph. So here's our number line. -2 would be a closed dot because it's equal to. Over here we have 5. It would be an open dot on the 5. And then the shading is everything in between. Every number, including the decimals, including -2 to 5, not including 5. For letter B, we have bracket 1, comma 3.5 bracket. So again, if we're writing in set builder notation, we have our curly brace first, x such that. That's just how we're starting it every time. Again, since it's in interval notation, it has to be inequalities. The smallest that x can be is 1, so we put the 1 on the left, is a bracket, so we have the equal to with it. The largest the x can be is 3.5. We have the bracket with it, so it is equal to. So when we go on our number line, 3.5, here's 1. We would have closed dots on both. Shading would be in between. And then the last one is from -infinity to -1. So x such that. All right, so if I have a point at -1, it would be an open dot -1 because it's not equal to. If we're shading that to -infinity, which way would it be shaded? To the left. So we can write this one of two ways. We can write this as just saying x is less than -1. Again, notice it's not equal to. That would work. Or the other way you could write it, which looks a little bit more like this, -infinity is less than x, which is less than -1. Okay. The furthest left it goes is -infinity. The furthest right it goes is -1. It's not equaling any of them. Remember, you can never equal the infinities. The infinities are always parentheses. All right, again, just a quick reminder, use the book to help you. If you are stuck at home on homework, you're not sure what to do, look at these boxes, okay? So we're going to be looking at intervals now, and it says finding the intersection and union of two intervals. You can always go back. If you see a problem, you're like, I don't know how to do this, go back, look for boxes, look for bold words. So here it says finding intersections and unions of two intervals. You're going to graph each interval on a number line. Okay, we can do that. Okay, so here's the checkpoint. It says use graphs to find each one. So now we're going to put our intersect and union with intervals. Okay, so go ahead and we're actually copy down step 1 also. Okay, so you can label this finding the intersection and unions of two intervals. That would be your title. And then we said we do step 1 a while. So step 1 is graph each interval in a number line. Okay, so finding the intersection union of intervals, and you're writing graphing each interval in a number line. All right, this is our example. We're going from 1 to 3 with brackets around it, intersect 2 to 6 with parentheses. So I'm going to make a number line. I see the smallest number on my number line is 1, the largest is 6. So I'm going to just put a 1 here, a 6 here. All right, so my first interval goes from 1 to 3. So from 1 to 3, and this closed brackets with both of them. So my first interval would look like this. 1 to 3, closed dots, shading in between. Then it goes, the second interval is from 2 to 6. So I'm going to put a 2 here, and there's my 6. So I'd have an open dot at the 2, an open dot at the 6. The shading would be in between those two. Okay, so how do I know what an union interval looks like versus an intersect interval? So again, going back to that page, it says to find the intersect, you're looking for the portion of the graph and the number lines where they have in common. So what I would write is that intersect means overlap. That's all I would write. Intersect is the overlap. And the union is the entire graph then. anything that's shaded on the graph. So you're going to your steps. We graph each one. The intersect is the overlap. The union is the entire graph. Okay, do as little as you can. You need to. Intersection is overlap, union, entire graph. That's all you have to write down. Okay, so this is an intersect. We're looking for an overlap. What numbers are overlapping? What numbers would have like double shading? The blue and the green and the red. From where to where?
2 to 3.
From 2 to 3. And if you notice, the 2 would have to have the open dot, and the 3 would have a closed dot because it equals 3 here and here. This one it doesn't equal 2 for that top one. So our overlap would be from 2 with a parenthesis, 3 with a bracket. Now for letter B, it's the same question, but now it's a union instead. So it's from intervals including 1 to 3, including 3, union 2 to 6, not including either of those. Do we have to make a new graph for letter B? No, because it's the same intervals. Now it's just a union instead. Remember, union, we're saying, is the entire shaded part. Our entire shaded part goes from what number to what number? From 1 to 6. Now we just have to be careful. 1 has a closed dot, so I'll put bracket 1 goes to 6, but 6 has a open dot. So I have the parentheses. Last thing I just want to go over before I let you guys work. The book is very helpful. They have examples. Okay, so if you were absent or you were like, I don't remember how to do this, you didn't take good notes, you were sleeping in class and you just missed it. Look through that section. Like here's an example of what we just did there. It's saying one interval from 1 to 4, intersect 2 to 8. It showed that you're going to graph each one. So here's the 1 to 4. Here's the 2 to 8, and it's saying that the intersect is what they're going to have in common. So you're looking for that overlap. So they showed the overlap right there, and they showed how you can write it. Okay, from 2 to 4. So the book has really good examples, step by step. If you ever need to look back on how to do something, you can do that. All right, so the last thing you have time to work on, your homework, which is page 202, 1 to 25 odd. Okay, 202, 1 to 25 odd is right there. Work on it. If you need to, if at the end of the period you are not finished, you can get your phone out and take a picture of it. Okay? If you don't have a book yet.